So the last example that I want to look at of the categorical imperative arguably recommending bad decisions is something that's called the trolley problem. This is a very controversial example or case, and it's actually inspired lots of similar problems. And you may notice, in fact, or you may recognize the meme that I will share with you, which basically is a summary of the trolley problem. So here's the famous meme, okay? So the problem is this. Imagine that there's a trolley running down the tracks, and it's going to hit, if it continues on its current course, 5 people that are tied to the tracks, and it's going to kill them, okay? You are standing a bit away from the trolley, and you're separated from the trolley. There's nothing that you can do to interact with or change the direction of the trolley except just one thing. The one thing you can do to change the situation, if you choose to, is you can pull a lever which will redirect the trolley to another track where there is one person, and the trolley will hit that one person and kill them, okay? So the question is, should you or should you not pull the lever? If you pull the lever, you'll deviate the trolley from the current direction and you'll kill the one person on the other track. If you don't pull the lever, then the trolley will continue on its current course and it will kill the 5 people on the track. So let me ask you first, how do you think a utilitarian would answer this question? Or just, you can even pause the video. How would a utilitarian pull the lever or not pull the lever? Okay, it's pretty clear that a utilitarian would pull the lever. I mean, almost every utilitarian would pull the lever, it seems like, because it's going to generate more utility overall to have one person die rather than 5, right? It's a lower negative utility cost to kill one person rather than 5. And since by pulling the lever, you end up ending one life rather than 5, it seems like it's the better thing to do. What about Kant? What do you think Kant would say? Okay, so think about it for a minute. Do you think Kant would say we should pull the lever or not pull the lever? Okay, so it's pretty clear that Kant would say, do not pull the lever. You should not, okay? In other words, let the train just keep going. Why is that? It's kind of crazy, but one way to make sense of it at first is to see that if you pull the lever, you're essentially treating one person as a means to the end of saving 5 others, and you are not treating that person as an end in themselves. If you redirect the trolley, then you've chosen to end one person's life in order to save 5 people's lives. And that ending of the one person's life is not treating them as an end in themselves. It's treating them as just a means to saving the other 5 people's lives. So it violates the ends in themselves formulation of the categorical imperative. Another way to understand this is that, remember, Kant had said that morality is about the orientation of the will. It's about the maxims that we act from. So whereas utilitarians say that morality is about the consequences of our actions. And since the utilitarians are concerned about consequences, to them, the choice between pulling or not pulling the lever is just a choice about which of the two outcomes is the better outcome. Is it better to have 5 people die and 1 person live, or is it better to have 1 person die and 5 people live? And it seems pretty clear when you present the choice in that way, about a choice between outcomes, that the 5 people living and the 1 person dying is the better outcome. But Kant thinks that morality is not just about outcomes, it's about the intentions that we have, or the orientation of our will, the maxims that we follow in acting. And when we pull the lever, we're essentially acting from a maxim that it's okay to sacrifice some people for the sake of others. And that means we're acting from a maxim that involves using some people just as a means to the well-being of others, and that's wrong. So, yeah. Now, in response to this, some people could say, look, I think Kant was right. It's wrong to pull the lever. You shouldn't pull the lever here. But since a lot of people say Kant was wrong about this and that you should pull the lever in cases like this, then this seems to show that there's something missing in Kant's account, that his account is too uncompromising about having to always respect individuals' rights or freedoms or their autonomy or their right to be treated as ends only and never as a means. Kant's theory is too uncompromising, too universalistic about that, and that side of things needs to be weakened a bit to include kind of overall general welfare considerations in cases like the trolley problem. Now, I just want to add one more wrinkle here to defend, I don't know if exactly defend Kant, but just point out a bit more complexity in this case. So many of you, if you have already watched the Objections to Utilitarianism video, you know that there's a case there where I discuss possible organ stripping, the question of whether or not one individual in the hospital who is healthy but not that influential of a person or whatever, they have healthy organs and they go in for a regular routine operation, whether or not that person should have their organs taken from them and put under, that is killed, in order to save 5 other people in the hospital who each need one of the organs. So if you said that that was wrong, which again, most people say that that's wrong, that we shouldn't be killing one person in a hospital to save 5 others with their organs, okay? Then don't you have to also say, if you're going to be consistent, that it's wrong to pull the lever? Because what's different between these two cases? In the case of pulling the lever, you're killing 1 to save 5. In the case of stripping somebody's organs in the hospital, you're killing 1 to save 5. So what is the relevant difference between the organ stripping case and the trolley problem? That means that if you think, as most people do, that you should pull the lever in the trolley problem, but you should not strip the organs in the hospital. It's interesting. People seem to answer in different ways in those two cases, but it's not exactly clear why they answer in those two ways. And a Kantian can make use of that and can say, look, you notice that it's wrong in the organ stripping case. It's harder to notice that it's wrong in the trolley case, but it's still wrong. It's wrong for the same reasons that it's wrong in the organ stripping case, namely that when you pull the lever, you're violating the rights. You're killing the one person who's on that side of the track. And if you don't pull the lever, you haven't killed anyone. Again, that's another component here, that if you don't pull the lever, then you, in your will, your actual action, has not generated anybody's death. You haven't willed to kill anybody by doing something, okay? And so, again, not pulling the lever is the better option here. It's the one that means that you will be it's the one where you're making the morally right choice according to Kant. But again, this is a controversial issue, and people have taken many stands on it, and you'll all have the option to discuss this and take a stand about it in the discussion boards and reading responses.